Welcome everyone. It's your boy Porkchop from the AM Click. You are now in tune to Fulton Bank's Business in Focus Spotlight Series, where we focus on businesses. I mean, it's self-explanatory, right? Listen, we got a special guest, and they're very special, not because of what they do, it's because of where they at right now. Let me introduce to you guys Dawnita Brown. Dawnita, what's up?
What's going on, Porkchop? How you doing?
I'm all right, baby girl. And I
Good.
understand that you're nowhere near here.
No, I'm not. I'm actually on the other side of the pond. I'm in Rotterdam in the Netherlands.
Nice, nice.
Yes.
Well, I ain't gonna keep you long because I know you're a busy woman if you're all the way out there. And
yes. I'm enjoying my
please,
respite. I'm a caregiver, so I need some downtime.
well, listen, let's get right into it. You said you're a caregiver. Tell us about your business.
So my business is Hey Caregiver, and it's a lifestyle brand for Black family caregivers to encourage, educate, and empower them to live a life of selffulness. And so when I became a caregiver for my mother, who suffered a brainstem stroke in 2018, it was so much that I learned as a caregiver. It was like sudden. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know how to navigate this caregiving journey from the healthcare system. She did short-term rehab and the nursing facilities, figuring out she was a tube feeder, like all of these things, right? So as a caregiver, I didn't know what to do. And I was just selfless. So I was not taking care of myself at all. Everything was focused on my mother. And
Mhm.
that went on for months. And so I learned this philosophy of selffulness. And so it became my divine mission to teach caregivers about being selfful. And selfful is that sweet spot between selfish and selfless. As
Mhm.
caregivers, we typically feel like we're being selfish or feel guilty when we're taking time for ourselves. And then on the flip side, as I mentioned with my mother, it was all about her. I was selfless. And I say that's reckless because I was neglecting myself. So
Right.
being selfful is that sweet spot. And so with Hey Caregiver, I have an e-commerce store where, caregivers can get their apparel to wear, which gives a voice to 53 million unpaid family caregivers. I'm one of 53 million unpaid caregivers. Yes. So,
Wow.
we have apparel for caregivers, for carees, the ones that they're caring for, and for folks that support family caregivers. So we have a gift box actually that we collaborated with small businesses in Baltimore, women-owned businesses,
Mhm.
um, Fancy Free Hair and Skin, Couples Tea, and Love Knows Candles, where we have a self-care box. And so it's very important for caregivers to take care of themselves. So
Yeah.
that's the Hey Caregiver is my for profit. And I also have a nonprofit called the Binti Circle, which is a support group for Black daughter caregivers who are caring for their parents. Because there are 25 million women who are taking care of their parents, and one out of seven women, right? And then you have Black women who are caring for their parents. And so we've created a space for them and me included because I'm one of them where we can really amplify our voices, right? And just change the narrative so that we can improve our health outcomes and really just change policy because we need support. And unfortunately, research shows that there are not enough culturally competent programs and resources for us as Black people.
Listen, I gotta talk to you offline because my aunt and my cousin, which is a female, take care of my uncle.
Hmm.
They
Hmm.
just took him out of a nursing home.
Yes.
Why is it that these nursing homes are so like I just don't understand.
Listen, it's one of those things, and actually I resigned from CMS, Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services. I wasn't working on the program side. I was
Uh,
working with just keeping our employees healthy. I was the employee wellness coordinator. I had no idea that CMS, I mean, it really doesn't do a lot for seniors. I mean, of course, if you're healthy, it's good, right? Because it covers, once you're 65, it covers 80%. And then whatever your supplemental insurance covers 20. But if you're sick and if you choose to stay home, CMS doesn't cover home care at all.
Really?
So unless you have Medicaid, which they help, they even have a program where they pay for family caregivers to care for their loved ones. But if you're middle class, you worked and you have Medicare, they do not cover home care. It's only if you're once you're discharged from the hospital, if you do home care like a visiting nurses association, but it's limited. It's only 3 weeks, 4 weeks. You know what I mean? It's not
Right.
indefinite, it's not ongoing. And so, CMS, I just want us again, we're with the Benty Circle, we're participating in research so that we can have data to show that these interventions like the Benty Circle, where we're offering support, where we're offering, an opportunity for respite, where we're raising funds to pay for respite and care for your loved one at home, these
Mhm.
are needed and these help. So we need to inform these policymakers of the changes that need to be made, especially when it comes to what's covered under home care, because we're saving the government billions of dollars by taking care of our loved ones at home. So
Right.
we should get more support. It's unfortunate these nursing homes, I think they get like $10,000 a month. Don't quote me on that, but they get this astronomical amount for a patient. So they try to keep them in there so that they can get all of the Medicare days. I think Medicare maybe cover 100 days for short-term rehab, right? So
Mhm.
in a nursing facility. They want to get every day out of that, even if they're not caring for that person like they need to. There's a young lady in my support group who had to get her dad out of a nursing home because they were mistreating him. They were neglecting him. They actually pushed him. He was falling out of the wheelchair, like all of these things, right? And because they are able to check the boxes for whatever the criteria is, they stay open. Autumn Lake has bought, I think they said, like 34 facilities, and the care is subpar at best. And so that's why with my mother had a brainstem stroke. She requires total care 24/7. She can't do anything for herself. And I
Right.
was like, I'm not leaving her in a facility, absolutely not. She would not be here if she was in a facility. I'm telling you. I mean, I know that everybody can't take care of their loved ones at home, but I'm a huge advocate of people really caring for their loved ones at home, because the love, their environment, they recover better at home. That's just what I've seen.
Listen, we're sitting here talking to Dawnita Brown with Fulton's Bank Business and Focus Spotlight Series. You done answered 3 questions. Straight. Like I was going to ask you, the caring for your mom was the reason you became an entrepreneur, right? Do you have
Yes.
any advice for somebody else that's out there that's caring for their loved ones and really don't know what to do?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, well, let me back up. I was actually living in Africa. I was serving as a Peace Corps volunteer in Eswatini, Africa, when my
Really?
mother had her, yes, 2.5 years. And I was planning to stay, really, because like I said, I was still a government employee. I was an employee with Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services, but I was on a leave without pay sabbatical. And so I was going to stay with the government and transition to a role, an employee role of Peace Corps, right after my volunteer service. My mother had a brainstem stroke. I came home. My whole life was turned around. Like my whole life was, as I knew it, was no longer. So my advice for people, well, one that's caring for their parents or caring for a loved one at home, join a support group, or surround yourself with what I say life-minded people. We all here like-minded, but life-minded. Like our lives are different now, so we understand what other people may not. Our conversations are different. I would say reach out to support. I mean, support in terms of resources. And then again, there are a lot of companies that are coming up, and I know folks that have started companies out of their pain. And I can, after, I can share them with you all, like Bridging the Gap Senior Care Services. They're there like a concierge service to help family caregivers who want to stay home. And it started by Sonia Suber, another Black woman, phenomenal. Um, and so, and I would also say, just like caregiving is not easy, like at all. It's no joke. And you're gonna feel all the feels. It's an emotional roller coaster. You could be angry 1 minute, happy 1 minute, sad 1 minute. Like, it's all of those things, but don't give up. Like, know that most people have been called to that role of caring. It's a privilege. I say it's not this is not the life I would have chosen, right?
Right.
But then I make it do what it do. Like I build in my respites. I'm on my annual trip to Rotterdam, to Amsterdam for the North Sea Jazz Festival. It's going to happen, so
Real quick,
very important.
hold on, I want to make sure you get this question right here. Regina said, don't forget to talk about how you transform your mom's physical space and how there's something else that Hey Caregiver brand.
Oh, yes.
What is Regina talking about?
So when I brought my mother home, you know how some people there, and I'm not, whatever you choose to, but there are some people set up in the living room or the dining room or wherever. I said, I'm not going to do that with my mother. So she has a bedroom. And so the way that I have her, she has a commode, but I have the commode covered with fabric, African fabric. I have her chair covered with African fabric. I have like her briefs. I call them briefs. I don't call them diapers.
Right.
Just even changing the language, right? Changing the language of what you call certain things. I don't say pee. We say we got to spill on aisle 1. I say clean up on aisle 1. We make it fun. But yeah, so I have everything hidden. So when you walk into her room, you wouldn't even know that she needs all of those kinds of, medical equipment, because I have it covered. Because I think that also when you're caring for someone, it's about their dignity, right? So the way that I've created the space, it's about her dignity, with her dignity in mind and my sanity. Because if I walk in and I'm constantly reminded of my mother's limitations and what she can't do, that would just make me sad. So I try to keep the energy up. I try to make sure that we have positivity. We do things together, watch TV together, laugh. And those were some things that she could not do, Porkchop. Like, she couldn't talk. She wasn't eating. She wasn't doing anything. And so since she's been home, like, she cognitively, she is great. The prognosis that the neurosurgeon gave her was that she wouldn't be able to do anything. Most of the people that have brainstem strokes are locked in, like Christopher Reeves was. So they just blink their eyes.
I'm glad you said that, because I never knew what a brainstem stroke was. But when you said Christopher Reeves, I was like, oh, okay, I got you.
Yeah. So locked in. So, it's definitely been a journey for sure.
Wow. You, on the path you're on now, I know you had ups and downs. Do you have any mistakes that you've made on your journey that you could tell someone else, like, don't do this because I did this didn't work?
Go to sleep. Like, don't
Get some rest.
Get some rest for sure. Like, when my mother first came home, I did not sleep at all. Like, because I was like when you have a new baby, I was constantly worried about what's going to happen. Now, the one thing, because she has limited, she can't, no mobility, I didn't have to worry about her getting up and falling or any of that. But just like, what, just making sure she's okay, up everything. And so I was literally sleep deprived. And when I was sleep deprived, I would make accidents with her medication. Like, sometimes I would give the morning meds in the evening, or vice versa, or get angry and just snap. So all those things, I would say rest is number one, and to definitely take care of yourself. Like, do not feel guilty at all when you're taking care of yourself.
How has Fulton Bank helped Hey Caregiver on your way?
So Fulton actually started it all, to be quite honest. Wow. I called my friend who was Dion Waldron, who was McNeil, who was working at Operation Hope at the time. And I was just calling and talking to her. And she said, you need to join the ETP, which is an entrepreneurial training program through Operation Hope, but it's in partnership with Fulton Bank. And so that was in November 2020. I spoke to the business coach, Tracy Evans, who actually taught the 8-week training in January, enrolled in the program in February. In March, I got my LLC, and that's when Hey
Wow.
Caregiver started. Right. So they actually were very instrumental in me starting Hey Caregiver. Like, the entrepreneurial training program, we were cohort 7, and it really helped me understand like business. We did profit and loss statements. We had to do a business pitch, a business plan, all of that. So that really prepared me to start Hey Caregiver. And then under the umbrella of Hey Caregiver, I did a podcast. I launched a podcast, the Suffolk Caregiver podcast, as well as the Benty Circle. So that was all of that, all under the umbrella of Hey Caregiver. And that was as a result of my participation in Operation Hope's entrepreneur training program, which is in partnership with Fulton Bank. And I opened up my business account with Fulton Bank, and I just love them. And they have the new branch in Northwood, which is 5 minutes away from my house. So that's just perfect.
I mean, you ain't never there. You always on the go. So
listen, it seems that way, doesn't it? But every chance I could get, I'm out of there,
right.
whenever I can.
Man, Business in Focus Spotlight Series, sponsored by Fulton Bank. Dawnita Brown is on here. And hold up, we got a question right now. Hi, I'm caring for my boyfriend. He had a stroke last year. It's challenging. Thanks for sharing.
Oh, you are welcome, owner. It's definitely challenging. If you need support, if you need anything, please reach out to me at Dawnita at heycaregiver.com, because I know that it's just a special, it's just a special assignment that we have. And so, again, somebody that understands and can empathize is very important to have in your corner.
Being a woman of color, have you had any challenges getting your business off the ground? Has it been difficult, or it's been like a smooth road so far?
Well, smooth is all relative. So because it depends on, what your goals are. For me, it was to create a brand to help caregivers, again, to give them a voice, to showcase their caregiving, to wear it proudly. And that has been happening in terms of the income generation that I thought it would, or generating the income that I thought it would. Not yet. But again, my number one priority is taking care of my mother. So I have to remind myself. And then also, I feel like as a woman of color, I'm learning, especially in this caregiving space, that we need us, right? So we need more representation. So I am doing that by way of, Hey Caregiver, and especially the Benty Circle, which we have members all over the country now. And we've grown significantly. We had nine members, I think, in 2021. We have 84 now. And so, like, yes, across the nation. So, we're doing great things. I feel like we're going to continue to grow. And as I mentioned, we're participating in research. So we're capturing this data where we can have evidence-based information to inform changes. So I think as a woman of color, yeah, I mean, when you look at caregiving, it's definitely predominantly white. We're underrepresented in the space. But again, they're with the partnerships that we're developing. And I think that's important as a woman of color. You can't go at it alone. You have to partner, you have to collaborate, you have to find your tribe so that you can work together. There's more power in numbers. And I think that, we as a people, for whatever reason, we have that crabs in the bucket mentality. And I think that, really collaborating, coming together, and working for the greater good, that we can accomplish it with more people. So, like I say, I haven't had any challenges per se, like those that are overt, but we just know that systemically we have challenges a little harder for us. So,
Dawnita, where can you be reached at? How can they reach you? I know people want to talk to you, one-on-one now.
So, as I mentioned, Dawnita, DAWNITA at heycaregiver.com. You can email me there. I will respond. not within the next couple of days because I'm still
Listen, we know.
on the outside.
We know. You ain't got to rub it in. We're here. How is it out there? How is it?
One, I heard it's hot. I don't know what there. It's very nice.
I'm gonna cut you off. Business and Focus Spotlight.
It's like it's so nice. You see, I got on the sweatshirt. It's nice. I mean, like it's like 60-some degrees.
Where can someone get purchase your sweatshirt?
www.heycaregiver.com. We have t-shirts. Like I said, we have them for caregivers, carees, and for those like you who support family caregivers.
I'm going up there. I'm going to get me a sweatshirt. I need.
Okay, and then yes, thank you, Regina Sally. We also right. We have our Binti Circle comedy show fundraiser for National Family Caregivers Month in November. Save the date, November 4th. It's going to be at Magoobies.
Okay.
And yes, it's going to be hosted by our very own Michelle, the indie mom of comedy, Baltimore. Yes. Mike Troy from Brooklyn, Mike Washington from DC, who's a caregiver to his dad, and Jay Smiles, who is a caregiver to her mom, who's living with Alzheimer's. She's coming to join us from Atlanta. So we're really excited about that, November 4th.
Dawnita and Regina, wherever you at. You got to get some love too. Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you so much. And I hope that the right people get to see this message, because these, what we talked about earlier, the nursing homes,
terrible. And that's the thing. I want to, we advocacy. We're working in terms of, like I say, changing laws, changing policies, and that's one of them. Like, we really need to do better in terms of these nursing homes by our and it's not even just elders, to be quite honest, because anybody can get in an accident or whatever, right? And you're there. And you want to be treated with some dignity. It's terrible how they do. It's really, really bad.
Why did you get this? Why did you go for this job if you're going to act like that? You know, your job is one of the most special jobs we have on earth. So I guess some people get a check.
Yeah. A lot of people are doing it for a job. It's not the passion, and so it's no purpose for what they're doing. But unfortunately, even if you do have a heart for it, because they're so short-staffed, and the ratio of the folks that are caring to the residents, you can't take care of 20 people, even if you have a heart for it. So we need to figure out, why is it that we're just looking at the bottom line of these places and really get in and provide the necessary care for people. But one of the things that I want to do, one of my dreams, is to have a program where we train family caregivers so that they feel comfortable enough to care for their loved ones. Because there are things that you are not taught to do, and you pretty much learn on the job. But, I want us, and then I have a lot of the Binti Circle women they are former caregivers. So they're able to share their best practices and everything with the caregivers who are coming along after them.
Dawnita, enjoy your vacation. Enjoy your time.
Thank you, Porkchop. I appreciate it.
We will see you the next time when you get home. Big shout out to Fulton Business and Focus Spotlight Series. And tonight we honor you. We honor you, Dawnita Brown, the founder and CEO of Hey Caregiver.
Hey Caregiver, you got it, Porkchop.
I knew you didn't supposed to say it like Hey Caregiver. I knew you supposed to be like, Hey Caregiver.
Hey Caregiver.
Thank you, sweetheart. I appreciate you.
Thank you. Okay, take care. Go back to your DJing.
And you go back to sleep.
Okay.